Welcome to Gold Silver Pros.
Hey everybody, this is Rob Kientz with 𝘎𝙏𝙊𝙍𝙀𝙗. This is your Thursday, November 30th video, and today we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to talk about the mining stock indexes popping. I'm going to show you a couple of charts on that. Then we're going to talk about what's happening in inflation. We had a really large print on one of the purchasing manager indexes, which I think is going to shock you. And that's going to be it for the data. And we're going to go back into talking about what I talked about earlier this week and talking about prepping and where you need to go. And I'm going to relate to you a couple of discussions I had with people that came to see me in the last couple of weeks. And I think you'll find those very, very interesting conversations because I think there's stuff that you can pull from that in your own life and in your own situation. So let's talk real life prep instead of just theoretical prep. Beans, bullets, and bullion. I'll give you a couple of examples of what people are doing and where they are. But we're going to check out the mining stocks first. This is 𝘎𝙬, which is the NYSE Arca Gold Bugs Index. And you can see it's popped over the last few days. This is a 5-day chart. And just, you know, actually, is that a 5-day? Oh, that's a 1-month chart. I apologize. But over the last 4 or 5 days, it's really sort of popped. Let's go down to a 5-day chart. You can see it popped from about 1127. It started a little bit of a pop. It's almost like a head and shoulders, but on the second shoulder, it just went whoop and just stayed up. It's really bullish. That's one of the two major ones for, I would say, the medium to big sized stocks. The VanEck Gold Miners Index ETF, the GDX, is probably the other. I mean, there are other indexes. These are the ones that I follow the most. Let's do a 5-day chart. You can see the same thing on 1127, boop, and then whoop. And that has a lot to do with gold popping. As gold got nearer its all-time high, the mining stocks finally started to move. And this is something I predicted a while back. I didn't think the mining stocks would really move until gold got near an all-time high and kind of stayed there for a little while. Now, we've seen it do it a couple times. We've seen it pop 2000 a couple times lately. But once it stayed in that 2030, 2040 range, investors got reinterested in the mining stocks. It makes sense. Mining stocks are leveraged investments on top of gold. They're going to make more money than gold itself because they mine it, and every ounce above their cost that they get to mine, it goes straight to the balance sheet in terms of revenue. And they're leveraged. So they need to make so much money to break even. And then everything after that in price just goes straight to the bottom line as profit. So they have been down for a long time because gold and silver prices are kind of sideways trading really the last couple of 3 years. When COVID happened in 2020, there was a pop because people went into gold, and so the mining stocks popped, and that was, you know, lucrative for a lot of people who were in at the time. Then it kind of drifted down and it stayed. The mining stocks have been down for a while, honestly. But now that everybody's seeing the problems geopolitically, they're seeing the problems with the banking system. Gold is starting to get really frothy here and kind of stay up as we get near the end of the year. I think we're going to continue to get negative news on the economy. The Fed has said they're not going to cut interest rates, or they're not aiming to right now. All of that news, I think, is playing into gold kind of staying up here. But I'm going to get in my gold forecast here in a moment. I do think there's going to be a pullback, although it's not going to be as big, I don't think, as people think. But it's interesting to see the mining stocks pop here a little bit. We'll go back to the 5-day chart. That's the best one on all of these. This is the VanEck Junior Gold Miners ETF. So it's got more of the juniors in it. They're very volatile up and down. Junior mining stocks might be one of the most volatile investments you can get in, outside of perhaps trading leveraged currency pairs. You know, on a minute chart, those can set your hair on fire. But, you know, the juniors, you know, in the mining space, certainly in the gold and silver sector, probably the highest volatility of any investment you can get into. A lot of people love these things because you can get rich, but your timing really has to be there. And they pop too. And they'll, you know, when gold really moves and when silver really moves, the juniors will move more because they've been depressed more. They're more susceptible. They're small businesses. A lot of them have been shut down. The mines went on maintenance. There was no money coming in. So a lot of them either went out of business or they're sitting there dormant, and their prices were literally at the bottom of the ocean. I mean, they weren't going anywhere. And this is more true in the juniors than it is in the regular ones. They were just sitting there on, you know, I fall and I can't get up, or, you know, resuscitate me. I need a breathing machine. Somebody shock me. Get the paddles out, you know. It's just dead as a doornail. Anyway, it's nice to see the mining stocks react. And this is confirmation for people who are out on that ledge. Oh my God, gold and silver. I had a guy come in the shop yesterday, and I literally thought he was, I don't have a ledge here because I'm only one floor. But if I had a ledge, I think he would have gone up there and walked off and jumped off. Man, the guy was in pure panic mode. You can see it in his eyes. You just couldn't reason with him. It was really on silver, but in any case, oh man, that was interesting. And it's predictable. When gold and silver do well, when they approach all-time high, especially gold, and there's underlying fundamental reasons in the economy for that, well, I mean, what you're going to see is you're going to see the mining stocks move. That's not a surprise. They're leveraged investments to the price of the commodity. The commodity's got to make enough money. Now, you could say, well, Rob, but on the gold side, not necessarily on silver, because cost to mine silver is just under what it's priced at right now. Silver is the most undervalued asset on the planet, I think. But gold, the miners have been making money. They've been making money. Why aren't these mining stocks popping? Because that's not the way the market works. Very much in commodities, it's counter-cyclical to the stock and bond markets. The commodity markets really go and stay going when the rest of the economy is tanking. Because why? Because people get it back into value. They get into the creation of things. When you have a big tank in the stock and bond markets, people put money in a paper and they look for real things that are actually going to perform. And one of those sectors is the mining sector and the commodity sector. How do you get commodities? Well, you got to mine them. You got to mine them or grow them. That's the only way you can get them. And so at the same time, in addition to the hard commodities, the metals and things like that, you're also going to see a lot of money go into farms, farming, ranching. The only investments that did better than gold and silver from the Great Depression through World War II and outside of that during that really difficult time was farmland. They actually had a higher growth rate than the metals did around the world. And so, and a lot of the commodities, which there was a huge demand for nickel in World War II. You actually saw silver going into nickels. So the only nickels in history that I know of in American history actually have silver in them are the wartime nickels from 42 to 45, because back then silver wasn't part of the industry. Silver's more the tech industry, if you will, and the military industry now. But back in World War II, there wasn't, silver was money. It wasn't really an industrialized commodity. Nickel was. There was a nickel shortage. So they took a bunch of nickels out of the nickel and put silver in there. And people come in with these 42 to 45 nickels, and it's got 35% silver in them, and they'll sell them for the silver content. And hey, man, I think the other day, the silver price, you got about $1.30 something, $1.35 for those nickels, spot price. It wasn't too bad. I don't know where they are now. Silver is actually up. As we record this, silver's at $25.18. It's up 19 cents on the day. We're recording this just before noon Central Time. And so those, war nickels probably worth a little bit more. Anyway, I'm digressing. Going back to the stocks. The stocks are going to do well. I think silver has its day when the shortages really come, and you also get that investment demand. I think that's a double whammy in silver. I think it's going to pop silver so hard and fast when it happens, but we got some time. Before we get into, the little bit of economic data, I have just the one point I wanted to make, and then before in prep, I'll make this quick. I'm trying to make this video 2025 and not longer. I did want to talk about gold and silver targets. So gold has gotten frothy. It started to pull back just a little bit. I mean, it's down $3 today at 2039. I'm sitting here on a live feed of gold, and it's literally 2039.00. Now it's 2038.80. Fell 20 cents as I'm speaking. It's trending down a bit. I could see gold come back down into anywhere from the 2000 to 2015 range. If it goes below 2000, it's a big psychological level. It could fall like 1980, 1970. I don't think it's going to stay there for long. And I think that, deliveries on the COMEX are one of the reasons, to be honest with you. Let's think about this for a moment. We're in the delivery period for the futures market in the US. In the last couple of business days of the month before the trading month, you can deliver your intent to take delivery if you want to take delivery. And the shorts, would have to provide that. Or negotiate you out in a cash settlement. So essentially, we're in that period starting this week in which people are saying, I want to go get the gold and I want to go get the silver. And we're not quite where we had that report. I'm looking on the COMEX website right now. I don't have the delivery notices or intent to take delivery for December. Oh, here we do. Let's see what we got. Silver futures. So far yesterday, intent to take, a couple thousand contracts. Let's see, the biggest one was HSBC issued. Most of it was stopped by JP Morgan. They're going to provide. That's silver. Where's gold? They've changed their reports. Okay, gold futures. Hey, there's quite a few of those. Oh, wow. So on the first notice intent day, 11/29, for the December contract in gold, 9,846 contracts in one day. Pow! I told everybody December is the biggest month. Almost 10,000 contracts of 100-ounce gold in a day. Let's go back down to silver. I was just reading the chart, but it's 524. Oh, I'm sorry, that's micro silver. COMEX 5,000. Okay, COMEX 5,000. The regular silver contract, 5,000 ounce silver, is 1,509 contracts. So multiply 1,509 times 5,000, you get your number there. Was that 7,500 ounces? Yeah. No. Okay, do the calculation, Rob. 1,500 contracts times 5,000 ounce silver. So people, 7,500,000 ounces. So yesterday was the first day for the metals, in which you could say, I'm going to take delivery in December off the COMEX, physical delivery. Now, whether you actually load it out and take it out, or you're just putting it in your coffers within the COMEX depository, 7,500,000 ounces of silver. And in gold, it was 9,000, what was it, 800 contracts. That's a lot. So it's going to be a big delivery month. And I think what happens is, I'm going to give you a little bit of a, not really a conspiracy theory, but a thought. Gold and silver price popped right before that delivery date, because if you wanted to get the gold and silver, now you had to pay more. Think about it. If gold was sitting there at $2,000 and these 9,800 contracts come in, how much money to take physical delivery do you need? You need that money, and then you need a little bit of margin on top of it. The way that works, the margins to cover a little bit of price movements and fees and stuff like that. That's what you got to put up. So the gold price pops into the 2040 range on the day of notice of first delivery. So they're going to pay $40 more per ounce to get gold. And what was it, like $1 more an ounce, buck something more an ounce to get silver. And now it's falling. Conspiracy theory if you want, but it's funny how that works. Oh, the first notice of delivery come out. Okay, we'll drop the price a little bit. So did the shorts let it rise a little bit, so it costs a little bit more to get that gold out of their hands to physically deliver it? I don't know. I just find that interesting, to be honest. All right, on to the economic news for the week. It's the Chicago PMI that is shocking everybody, that came out today. The Chicago Business Barometer PMI. What is PMI? Purchasing Manager Index. It's what purchasers are paying or expect to pay more or less than last month for the stuff they need to build stuff that you're going to buy as a retailer. Does that make sense? So it's the step before price inflation hits you, it hits the purchasing managers. I got to purchase stuff to make stuff to give it to you. So if you look at the PMI, it's usually an indication of 30, 60, 90 days, what you're going to pay for retail products. How much more or less if inflation's going down? Does that make sense? So it says here off of Market Watch, Chicago Business Activity Index moves into expansion territory for first time in more than a year. Oh, expansion territory. It jumped to 55.8 in November from 44 the previous month. That's 11.8 up. That is huge. That's the largest monthly gain since September of 2020. What happened in September of 2020? We were restarting the economy, or getting ready to anyway. And you had huge price jumps because you had a shortage. Remember all the supply chain stuff we talked about for like a year afterwards? This is the biggest one since then. And we're in a normal economy. It's huge. Economists polled by Wall Street journalists had a forecast of 46. They didn't see it coming. Do the economists ever see it coming? Did they really? This is the first reading above the 50 threshold for growth since August 2022, according to Market Watch. It's the highest level of the Chicago PMI since May of 2022. Amar Sharif, the founder and president of Inflation Insights, said he thought the surge reflected the end of the UAW strike and the resumption of activity in the auto sector. Quote, I think we could see a similar dynamic play out when we get to November ISM print tomorrow, although I expect to see much more muted increase in the national factory gauge. So this is just Chicago. Now, how much auto manufacturing is in Chicago? I don't know if somebody looked that up. I know there's some in Detroit. I know there's some down here in Texas. I just don't know. Another quote, Josh Shapiro, chief U.S. economist at MFR Inc., cautioned that Chicago PMI could be more volatile than national, which makes sense. It's a regional index. Economists expect the national ISM factory index will stay in contractionary territory, rising only to 47.7. So in any case, business expansion, but also price expansion coming is an indicator of oncoming inflation, also an indicator of maybe more demand for products. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes, but not great. Well, depending on how you look at it. If it's positive growth due to we're just manufacturing more stuff, that's good. If it just means prices are going to go higher because it's more inflationary, demand supply characteristics, then we're worried. So we'll see how that goes. That's a big one though. And we'll see how that goes. All right. So that was the gold one. That was a little data point I want to talk about today. The Chicago PMI just came out. Now I want to talk about preparation. And I want to talk about real stories. Let's talk real stories. So on Tuesday, I talked about following your gut, listening to that, because that's part of what makes us human and what protects us. And I put a little video out today on Twitter, about 50 seconds long, which was a cut from that Tuesday YouTube video where I said, I think we're having tremors in 2024 and it's time to prep. Okay, so today I want to talk about some real life prep stories. I'm not going to name names or even indicate who these were. And these happened over the last few weeks. You know, as I've opened the store, a lot of people come in and talk to me. They hit me at trade shows. They call me on the phone. I made myself more accessible, I guess. And so in a way, I become maybe a counselor, maybe the bartender, maybe just an ear, maybe a sounding board, whatever you want to look at. But I have these conversations all the time. I'm going to tell you about the guy that was going to jump off the ledge first. I don't mean to, I'm not trying to make fun of him. I just thought, wow, this guy's, he wanted to trade some silver for platinum because he thinks silver's never going to pop. And he wants to go to platinum because platinum's in a general shortage in a normal economy, which I agree. And you got political issues in South Africa and Russia, well, in South Africa. And then you've got trade issues with Russia. Those two countries produce the most platinum, palladium, PGM metals. Rhodium's in there too. They can get rhodium other places, but rhodium's also needed for catalytic converters. So those three kind of go hand in hand. And his play is, well, silver to platinum is at its all-time most skewed in the last, I don't know, 20, 30 years. So he wants to trade silver for platinum. We got no problem with that. I couldn't source all the platinum he needed. I tried. There's not a lot of platinum available at the wholesalers. There's some. He wanted a lot. I couldn't get it to him. But he wanted to trade silver right now. And because he said, silver's never going to pop. It's never going to go. It's never going to go. And I said, it just rose. He said, I know, but it's even 25. And I think he bought a lot of stuff over 25 and some at 25. So I get his sensitivity. But I said, do you not believe in the silver shortage story? He's like, it'll never pop. Nobody has any money, blah, blah, blah. And he wanted to sell me just a silver. And I said, I don't need that much silver right now. So I'm going to have to offer you lower than I normally would because I'm kind of pregnant with silver inventory. And I said, probably I'd just give it back to my wholesaler. And there needs to be a little bit of discount for me to do that, just to cover my costs. I'm not making anything on the deal. I'm just trying to help him out. Or I said, you know, I could take it on consignment, try to sell it, but you have to accept whatever I can get, whatever the market will bear. Spot price is up, but the scalpers are out and they're going to, you know, they may lowball you a little bit. You know, sales of precious metals right now are down just a little bit. So I said, it's a bit of, even though price is up, it's a bit of a weak retail market for silver. That'll come back. Believe me, when we get into recession next year, that'll come back. And I told him it might be better for you to keep it. But he literally, I thought, man, he was just so emotional about it. And the last thing I said to him was, don't allow your emotions to control your thoughts. Think about it logically. If you still want to sell it, I'll try to help you in some way. And he just kind of stormed out. He's pissed. He was cussing on the way out. Not necessarily cussing me, just the situation. Anyway, there's a lot of capitulation going on. My friend calls this capitulation in the metals. People are selling me stuff every day. That doesn't mean people aren't buying. I still sell stuff, but a lot of people are coming and selling me their necklaces, man. They're selling their Krugerrands. I've got Krugerrands out the wazoo right now. For some reason, you know, and people bought them in the 70s, 80s, and finally they're like, I'm selling. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, yeah. I think most of the capitulation is because people are just sort of in general broke, not everybody, but the middle class has been so whittled out. They just don't have a lot right now. And so the majority of the middle class is really suffering right now. I just wanted to, you know, share that anecdote with you. I see it in the data, but I see it in people every day. I see real life people stories every day. All right, let's get into a little bit of preparation. I want to share that story with you. I thought it was interesting. All right, prep. Guys have been talking to me. Had a guy come in this week. And he's like, I think I got enough gold, got enough silver. And I'm not a financial advisor. And everybody knows this. I don't tell anybody what to do, but I'm a sounding board. You know, I'm like a friend that happens to be an analyst, you know. And he's like, I got enough gold. Do I need more? And I said, I said, the rule is if you want to live like a gentleman in most time periods in history, you have 100 ounces of gold. Some people say 1,000. I'm like, no, 100, come on. You know, only the rich can afford 1,000. And some people may have 1,000. If you do, awesome. You can do really well in the next few years if you can hold on to it and not have to sell it before then. But I said 100 ounces, you can live like it, you know, pretty well, especially during tough times, because that price is going to go up and you may be able to buy several city blocks and a bunch of businesses and throw off cash flow. Man, it's going to help you. And he said, I got X amount of silver. And I said, do you want more? He says, I don't want to store anymore. And I said, you could store it in one of these companies. And he's like, yeah, I could, but I'm sort of, if you don't hold it, you don't hold it. And I said, I could do that, but I'd really just do other things. He had all these other things done. You know, he had food, he had, you know, food, shelter, all that kind of stuff. And I said, well, what if stuff gets tough in the cities? Do you have a place to go? And he said, that's the one thing I haven't done. I don't have land out in the country. And I said, well, I don't, you know, people are divided on the whole prep debate. Do we bug out? Do we not bug out? And my views on that have changed over time. I completely changed how I prepared, how much land I have, what I own. I own a lot less than I used to be honest with you. I went more liquid and more mobile. That's just my own personal, because I don't necessarily want to be stuck in town. I've got places to go. I have family, I have other, you know, places I can go. But if it gets really hairy and we get to no rule of law or martial law or just general craziness that we've seen in other places. Look at what we saw in Ireland with somebody stabbing 5 people, including 3 children, and then people rioted. A lot of this had to do with forced immigration and the politics going on there in Ireland. But then there were turnover cars, burning cars, breaking into businesses, looting. You know, as a store owner, if that happens, I'm sorry, I'm picking my stuff up and I'm gone. I'm not going to stand there and get shot or burned out. But more than that, would it be safe for me and my kids to be here? It may not be. Maybe you take refuge with a friend. That's when you may just go, if you're going to stay in the city, you want to live with friends and kind of form a group, not just for defensive purposes or martial sort of purposes. You know, we got to, you know, club back the zombies, but more for emotional support. Networking. People have different skill sets, have access to different things. You're pulling resources and money. You're cutting your costs. I could see that happening. Some people are going out in the countryside saying, man, I'm out of this place. I bought Joel Skousen's strategic location book, baby, and I've got my ratings in every state. And I go on there and I'm going there. So, you know, what he and I talked about was, do you have a place in the country? He likes to hunt anyway. So why don't you just buy a little hunting spot? And then if you feel like it goes Red Dawn, you just go out there. You know, and if it doesn't go Red Dawn, use it as a hunting spot. It's dual purpose, and maybe it's an investment. You know, land in Texas, Oklahoma, this part of the country is going through the roof right now, especially farmland, ranch land, and land in the country. It's not just city land, not only because of immigration, but as people immigrate to the cities, more people in the cities are going out. So it's going, you know, influx of people into Texas, and then people in these concentrated areas are saying, I want a little bit more space. It's now getting a little crowded. You know, I'm going out. So that it's all over the place, and land prices are going up. So it could be a good investment. You never know. Yeah, I'm not a financial advisor. He's got to make his own decision there. But that's where he's at. And because he had prepared years ahead of time, he was able to make that kind of decision. Do I buy more gold and silver? And he bought a little bit. He's also a collector. He buys collector coins. He said in about 2020, he stopped buying the collector coins and went pure bullion for a couple of years. He's satisfied with his bullion, but his collector coins are more of the long-term investment. They're speculative, but I'm telling you, there's a raging market for collector coins, and people are killing it right now. That market the last 5 years has been white hot. I did a lecture on this, or a presentation on this, a silver symposium. I talked about the collector market just dwarfing the bullion markets, and they're killing it. A lot like the mining stocks we talked about at the beginning, more speculative, more up and down, more volatile, but damn, are they not doing good. In any case, he had that too. So I had multiple investments. He had no debt. He has businesses running in town. I'm like, dude, you got it made. Like, what do you know, he's not super rich like the Walmart family, but he's doing okay. So I said, you know, you got to do what you got to do, make your own decisions, but man, go buy some land. You like to hunt. Go buy some land, find you a nearby processing. He has a processing facility he loves. I said, buy some land over there, you know, take your deer and stuff over there. And, you know, the wonderful thing, he said he would bring me some stuff next time he went hunting, some, you know, some fresh stuff for my freezer, which is awesome. And that's the kind of relationship I have with people here. And it's fun. So if you haven't done this, come visit me in the store. It's a lot of fun. I don't mind having these conversations. I really don't. I'll have them as much as I can, depending on how many customers we have in the store. But people do this all the time. They see me at trade shows. And it's not unlike when I go to conferences. And I do not have all the answers. I'm not positioning myself as Mr. Guru. I do not do that, but I am a sounding board. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not your life advisor. I'm not going to charge you anything. I'm not putting myself or holding myself out as that, but I'm a sounding board. And I keep everything in private. I probably forget most of it after, but I learn lessons. He was teaching me stuff about certain, weapons that he has and calibers and techniques he used for hunting and, stuff in his business. We were doing business to business talk. And so it's even more beneficial than just prep talk. All right. Another guy I talked to saw me at a show probably about a month or so ago. And he was the same position, but he's not a business owner. He's an executive in a well-known company, VP. And he's done his whole prep routine, almost same thing, but he already has his cabin. He already has his, EMP proof 4x4 truck, no electronics, it's carb, all that kind of stuff. Just in case, not saying that's going to happen. I don't want people to think we're all wackadoodle, but when you prep for multiple potential scenarios, if that's what you want to do. And he had that already. He's like, and he's back to buying more gold and silver. But I think now he's going to give it to his family. Now he's buying gold and silver and giving out as gifts. And the other thing, I've had people come in the store and they're giving away gifts. People that are already have what they need, they're doing the wonderful thing of buying gifts. And people will come in and say, I'm going to a wedding. Do you have a 2023 American Eagle slabbed? Gotcha. My grandkids were born in 2010 and 2012. For Christmas, I want to give them a graded American Eagle MS69 slabbed in their birth year. I happen to have it. There you go. Somebody came in and said, the only collector's coin I pretty much don't have slabbed is a slightly toned Libertad. I happen to have a slightly toned, was it an MS66 Libertad? He bought that. But also people are buying bullion. One lady came in, she said, I want some of your holiday rounds, which we have. I haven't put them on the website, by the way. I need to do that. But there's some really cool holiday rounds we have in the store. And she bought some of those for stocking stuffers. One lady came in and said, I love your Don't Tread on Me. It was a lady, sorry, this side. It was a lady, and I have rounds that have that on there because my friend Matt makes them. Eagle Forge bullion. And we have a design that has that on there, and I love it. And she came in and said, yeah, freedom, all that kind of stuff. And she bought those for stocking stuffers, little 5-ounce bars. I'm like, that's the best present ever. Hello. And the last thing I want to relate to, because it's getting close to 30, I had a lady come in and she's like, my husband likes stocks. I like the metals. They were both former military. I think they were in the Navy, and they got out and they moved to Texas, and they live here now. They were in the Navy for a long time. They were a career. It wasn't just the initial, 4 or 5 year commitment, whatever that is. They were career. Great people, sweet. She was wonderfully sweet. Came in and wanted to buy junk silver. She bought a bunch of Mercury dimes from me. I had a ton. She likes the Mercuries. There also was a couple of, I think, Barber dimes in there. Pretty well worn, but those are pretty rare, Barber dimes. They're old ones, came before the Mercuries. She bought a couple of those. And we were talking about it, and she's like, yeah, I just buy metals. And every time he buys a stock, or he likes to buy challenge metals, like the military challenge metals, because they're significant to him, because they were in the military, even though they don't necessarily carry value like bullion does. They're significant to him, which makes sense. It's very sentimental. It relates back to his time in the military. I get it. I attended a presentation on challenge metals a couple of weeks ago at a coin collector meeting, and it was beautiful. A guy had served in the Marine Corps for a number of years. I got out, I think, as like a sergeant. Really nice gentleman, had been around the world. He said it changed his life. He got to travel around the world. He got to go some tough spots, got to go some nice spots. But he had a bunch of challenge medals, gave a lecture on it, and I thought, that's really neat. And they're collectors for those things. And so her husband does that. She's like, I do the bullion, because that I think is going to have more long-term value. And every time he buys collector coin, the rule is I get to go buy bullion. So it's cool that they're working together, and and that's going on. We're almost 30 minutes. So I'm going to end it up. If you haven't seen me, come tell me your stories. I don't mind. You don't have to if you don't want to. I don't mind at all. But those are the type of prep stories that we need to start talking about. Why? 2024, like I said on that clip on Tuesday, and I put that clip on Twitter, or X, if you will, this morning. Go check it out. Tremors. But I think they're going to register on the Richter scale 6 and above. They're going to be big tremors. Now, are we going to have the big crash this year? I'm not convinced. I thought we'd go into recession this year. I think it's 2024 or bust. I think we're already in it, but I'm talking officially. Like the government actually said, okay, we're in recession. I think we hit it next year. And I think you're going to see pow in this market, pow in that market, bam, that bank failed. That's going to start happening. And then sometime 2025, maybe 2026, pop, the biggie. I think it's what's going to happen. All right, we're right at 30 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Real quick summary recap for you guys. You're supposed to preview what you're going to talk about what you're going to talk about, and tell them what you talk about. So this is tell them what I just told you. Mining stocks are up because gold was within 30 bucks of its all-time high, 30-ish. They started seeing it. Gold was already profitable, but it pops in the mining indexes. The HUI, the GDX, and the GDXJ. I'm sure probably some of the others as well as a few others. The Chicago PMI, huge leap from last month to this, indicates probably oncoming recession, but a little bit of business activity. We'll see how that plays out, but it was big. And then the prep stories. We need to start prepping because 2024, big changes. Definitely gonna be unlike any year that we've probably seen in the last 20 to 30, I would imagine, in a lot of ways. It may, in some respects, resemble 2020, but I think in many respects, it's going to be much different as well. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for joining the channel. Oh, quick little plug for my website. Let's actually put it up, www.goldsilverpros.com. Please do the www because the forwarding is not working from the root goldsilverpros to www. It's a little bit issue with my host that they're working on resolving. They're actually having to upgrade their system. It still works though. Website works just fine, www.goldsilverpros.com. We have metal there. I only have a few Silver's Freedom bars left. I put them on sale and they almost sold out, as I said, and I've got like 2, maybe 3 left, and they're gone forever. We're not making any more, or at least I don't have plans. If you go to volume pricing, new prices are up. I update this a couple times a day. We have either bank wire ACH prices or credit card. Since I'm printing both at the same time, that's compliant. Those of you in the auto industry know what I'm talking about. These prices aren't set in stone. If you call me, I have certain percentages I have to hit over spot. Pay my wholesalers, make a little bit on my own. So don't look at this as the gospel. Look at it as I update this a couple times a day, but call me and I'll quote you. And I can beat almost every large online retailer. Most of the time, I can't guarantee it, and I won't, but I can beat them most of the time. If you order a little bit in volume, at least a few $100s to $1,000, I can get you good deals. On all the rest of it, the gold and the silver, these are all one price, includes credit card fees. That's why, so if you're comparing my price to anybody else, look at this as the credit card price, like if you go to, wherever. And also, we have started carrying some collectibles. Not everything I have. I just got another box, which I need to put out. Or not up on the website. I got a really nice couple of Morgans. I don't know if you guys can see it, but a couple of Morgans, other coins I'm going to put out on the website. Really cool. Some of them slabbed, some of them just, in their holders. And we also have a nice line of jewelry. We have about 60 products of jewelry out right now. And we're going to probably get to about 100, 150 by the end of the week. So if you're interested in jewelry, that's there. Just a reminder that you can support the program by ordering any of those lines of products that I also happen to carry in the store in these display cases right that way. Thank you guys so much. I'm going too long, 33 minutes. Thank you so much for joining. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving weekend. Next week, we start to talk about the CBDC system. I'm doing a lot of research this weekend. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. For those of you that love when I deep dive and get really nerdy into white papers and stuff, and the way that I try to explain it in a way that the average person can understand. It's what I did for my tech career. I did a lot of that. Starts next week. Fun, 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 fun. If you like the nerdy stuff, stay tuned to Gold Silver Pros next week. Love you guys. Till next time, Rob Keats. We'll be seeing you.